I really wanted to ask you, and it's something that I ask a lot of teachers that I know. How do you feel about the whole school shooting situation and the not only the stigma behind it, but then also how educators are being um, basically seen upon as the first line of the first line of defense. You hear about these parents wanting teachers to carry firearms, or or
Hmm.
even the drills that they're starting to run at schools before COVID happened. A school shooter simulation kind of thing where they're preparing the kids for an actual school shooting. Like, how do you feel about that?
So I feel like now that it's more common that it's happening, and it's so sad because I know when I was in high school, I don't ever remember hearing about school shootings. I feel
Hmm.
like the most traumatic thing I remember being in school was 9/11. I mean that, and
Hmm.
that sticks with me. I feel like it was just yesterday, and
Hmm.
I say that to say with school shootings, I feel like man, our kids' mental health.
Hmm.
I feel like mental health plays a big part when it comes to school shooting.
Oh yeah,
I feel like
definitely.
there I feel like there needs to be a more spotlight on mental health and also on teachers, like knowing your students' parents are um putting their faith in you. If anything does happen, at the end of the day, it's you and these students. You have to protect these students. Us teachers, we know that these are our kids, these are our students. If something were to happen, we have to be their line of defense. We have to be able to figure out a way to protect them. We know that. I know that. But like as a parent, looking at it as from a parent point of view, I understand why parents say, or why people are throwing out why they want teachers or people on campus to have guns. I understand they feel like that is the best way to protect their kids. So I
Hmm.
understand
Hmm.
why they say that. I just don't feel like there's one definite correct answer to solve the problem. I do
Yeah.
feel like we need to put more emphasis and more spotlight on mental health. And we also need to keep in mind teachers are still humans. We're not specialized
Yeah.
to be military. We're not specialized to be policemen. Um, but for me, from my experience, from being a teacher, from being a parent, I just want parents to know that at the end of the day, we're gonna put your kids first. We're gonna do what we have to do to keep them safe,
Hmm.
um, and hopefully that follows up into administration. At the end of the day, we have to follow what they say goes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, but as far as school shootings, I feel like that goes hand in hand with mental health. So I feel like when we talk about school shootings, we're talking about mental health.
I mean,
Yeah.
it's crazy looking at the shift in the generation, because like when I was in high school, I didn't think, hey, I'm gonna shoot up a school. No, I'm like, yeah,
Right.
I'm just gonna skip school or go hang out with my friends, or
Yeah.
just go do some stupid shit. I wasn't thinking like I'm gonna kill some people today. No, like it's fucking crazy to think that these things are happening in our generation. That there's so many mass shootings now. I mean, like I was doing some research before the episode started. There's been 45 mass shootings in this month alone in 2021 in the United States. 45 mass shootings, and it's crazy. And like I'm a diehard Republican. Don't get me wrong. I love my guns, but the fact of the matter is that we need to have parents need to be more responsible with their firearms. I'm
Yeah.
sorry, but they need to be more responsible with their firearms. A lot of these shootings are happening because kids are getting access to those guns and then
Yeah.
taking them to school and then just unfortunately killing people. And I had to have an honest conversation with my son, and I didn't want to have it, but I told his mom ahead of time, like, hey, I need to have a conversation with him about a school shooting, like in case it happens, because we live in fucking Texas. So I
Hmm.
basically had to sit him down and I told him, like, look, dude, I need you to understand, if something happens and you hear there's a school shooting, I need you to go to the nearest room or whatever the hell it is, take cover, don't be a hero. And it broke my heart having to tell him that. Don't be a hero. Like, I'm sorry, but I don't want to get that call that, hey, your son died. And I don't want to get that. So I had to
Hmm.
tell him, like, dude, just run. Get it to the nearest classroom. I don't care if it's your classroom. I don't care what the fuck it is. Get in there, shut the door, make sure the teacher's covering the door, whatever you got to do, but don't be a hero. Okay?
Yeah.
But
And it,
that's parent, that's parenting. We shouldn't put our young children in a place where they feel like they have to be Superman where
Yeah.
they feel like they have to be a superhero. That's not what they're at school for. They're at school to be kids. They're at school to be students. The adults are the ones that need to attempt or need to be their protection. So
Yeah.
I praise you on that, because there's no reason why we should make our kids grow up faster than they
I
need to be.
I had
Yeah.
to I had to explain to my son with the article about that the young man that passed away. It was that Florida shooting, the not the Sandy Hook but the other one, um, where he basically covered a door with his body and he was shot like 10 times through his body, and
Wow.
he basically died a hero. And I had to show him that. I was like, dude, I applaud this kid. He's a hero, but I don't want that to be you. I'm sorry. I would, if you did it, I would love you, and I would be so proud of you, but my heart would be broken, and
Yeah.
I wouldn't be able to handle it.
Yeah,
Right.
So I
because
told him,
no,
like,
yeah, no parent would be okay regardless of them saying, "Hey, you're unfortunately, your son, passed away, whatever, but he died a hero." It doesn't matter what you say after you've heard those words of, "Hey, your kid just passed away." Everything else doesn't matter. Sure, other parents might appreciate it, but you yourself wouldn't. It wouldn't. It would just be like,
Right.
that's nonsense to me because my kid's dead. So
Right.
yeah.
I understand that, but
And it sucks because it's a conversation that you have to have with your kids,
yeah,
especially now, 2020, 2021, and stuff like that. It's just, it sucks, but it's something that you have to have a conversation with them. And it breaks my heart that we have to do that, but it's a necessary part of being a parent, and especially in today's age,
yeah.
just because
And
I
it's
don't
our
want to get that
reality
home,
right now.
Yeah, well,
you know,
especially in Texas, because I don't know if you guys knew this, but
and Florida.
yeah, they were telling me that I forgot if they already passed it or they're in the process of passing it, that you will no longer need a concealed license to wield a handgun.
Mm, they proposed
Really?
it. They proposed it. It hasn't actually finished
Yeah.
being written. Supposedly, I've actually been looking into that.
Oh, okay.
For one, it concerns me. Two, also the fact that it's uh it's a slippery slope. Um,
Mm-hmm.
it's already, I don't know if you know this. It's legal to open carry a sword or any like
Giant
sharp
object.
object like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy. Like I can literally walk down the street with a fucking samurai sword and not get in trouble.
Yeah, that's
Fucking
crazy.
crazy.
Also, another thing that I kind of have like an issue with the whole, oh, we need to arm the teachers or we need to arm the staff is, at the end of the day, let's say for example, I was a teacher, right, and I'm in the campus, and so I see something that's about to happen. I within me have to make the decision to shoot a child. It doesn't matter if
Mhm.
they're in elementary, middle school, high school. That's still a child that hasn't lived their life to the fullest. You have to
Mhm.
make that decision right then and there to shoot them. If I had that gun, you know what I mean? Like that's, how crazy that sounds. So that's why when people are like, "Oh, we gotta arm these teachers. We gotta arm these teachers," like, bro, they're already dealing with other stuff, trying to teach your kid the best they can, and now you want to make them a split-second decision to whether they're gonna shoot this kid in the head or not, or they're gonna shoot him just in
I
general.
mean,
Like
Right. Now
that's
think about, you're having a whole campus of ages from kinder to fifth grade, and you have all these teachers in this school with guns. You know how bizarre that sounds? Isn't that
yeah,
crazy to think that there's kids going to school and now you have all these teachers with guns? I personally just feel like that's when we as educators and our education system needs to work closely with people who do this for a living, like
mm,
getting the police department involved
yep,
or the school district doing a better job of hiring officers. I feel like that's more of a realistic goal. Because if y'all don't mind answering this question, would y'all feel safer if we had police officers on campus?
there was actually an article about this veteran group that actually wants to volunteer to be placed in different schools where they guard the schools, being veterans and
mm-hmm.
being licensed firearms. They have licensed firearms. Um, they volunteered to guard the schools. Like they don't have to pay them. They don't want any of that. They just want to make sure the kids are safe. And
Yeah,
they never replied to them. And it's just like, you have the people who want to do these things, that actually want to volunteer and guard
yeah,
these schools. Like I would I would be much more calmer if it was actually like guards and security guards, that are armed instead of teachers, because again, like Jaime said, uh, it would be really really hard for a normal person, let alone a teacher, to make that split second decision to shoot somebody, especially a child.
Yeah.
And that's the hard part. You know, you're talking about
Mhm.
a child here. Nobody wants to shoot a child. Nobody.
Yeah. It's
And
not. It's
it's-
not a normal thing to think of. So.
No,
Right.
Yeah.
it's really not. And it's
Yeah.
not something I like to think about. But at the same time, like, there are ways that we can make this better. There are ways that we can
Mhm.
have people in place that can actually fill those roles for guarding a school or preventing school shootings. And it just takes the right people to how do I put it, to push that forward instead of
Mhm.
just, oh, we need to do this, we need to do that. It's like, no, let's propose other ideas. Let's think of a different narrative. Like, it has to be something here that just that helps us, you know. And
Yeah.
I don't
As
know,
an
man.
education system, I definitely agree with you. We need to revisit what we need to do to keep our kids safe. But the people that are deciding are not deciding on this are people that don't even have their kids in public education. So I feel like that's our first mistake. You have these
Mm.
people at the top of the chain, but their kids are in private school. So
Mhm.
they're not dealing with the same situation. They're not dealing with the same social impacts. So I feel like the start of that is we need to get teachers up there. We need to get people that actually know what it's like to be in public school, not these private schools where they're all protected. It's
Yeah.
a whole different ballgame when you're in public school, especially when you're in public
Mhm.
school in a low income area. I feel like that changes the whole game. That changes the whole perspective on education. That changes the whole perspective on safety. So, how do you expect these people at the top to be able to view the same way we view things in a different area,
Yeah.
so to say?